I wanted to discuss how you can add command line parsing to a C# program very easily using a nuget package called CommandLineParser. So basically you can install this package called CommandLineParser and you're good to go. So I've already done that, and I'm going to basically walk you through the program as to how it is normally set up. So what you can do is you can call a static method parser, and then you can just say default, and then you can say parse arguments, whatever arguments are being passed to this program. In this case it is args, and we want to cast these arguments into options that we can kind of see in our program as to what the user wants from the command line. And options is basically, in my case I only have one thing I'm demonstrating. So let's say we have an option called verbose, which is a boolean. You can say that the option on the command line can be, you can use a short form as v, the long form can be verbose, for example, and then it's not required, and then there is some help text. So what you say is you do this, and with parsed options you run a method called run options, and when it is not parsed properly or there are some errors, you run handle parse error. And let me show you those methods. In run options, it's basically you'll get a variable of type options, and you can check whether those options were set by the user or not. So if example options.verbose boolean is true, that means verbose output is enabled and it prints the current output. Otherwise, if it's false, it prints current arguments. In handle parse errors, you get an enumerable of errors, and you can just print what the errors you got, errors found. So that's really all you have to do. So let me demonstrate to you how you can run this. In .NET Run, the way to run, if you use from command line .NET Run and you want to specify the arguments, basically you say .NET Run dash dash and then you give the arguments. So let's say I run this program without any arguments and see what happens. So when there is no arguments, basically the option value is not required, and it's going to be default. It's going to be the default value for verbose, which is false. It will come over here. Options.verbose is false, and you will see current arguments minus v false. So that's what we're getting print out. So very nice. Let's say I wanted to specify a value for this. So let's say I wanted to what you want to do is dash dash v, and I wanted to specify a value of true, for example. So then we'll come over here, it says verbose output enabled, current argument minus v true. So that's what it is doing. I've also wanted to show you how you can use, instead of the short form, the long form for this value. So you can also say verbose.true. So that also works. So this is actually a very nifty way of parsing the command line options that are given to you and proceed accordingly. One more thing I wanted to quickly show, that something does come outside of the box that you can utilize, and that's called version, and it will give you the version of the command line app, for example console 1.00. One thing to keep in mind when you specify this console version thing, it's not going to run as a program because it's just printing the version. You will get this handle parse errors found, and here in this case is like version requested error. So just keep in mind how you design your program. And then you can also do help, and then it will also print some help text, which makes sense for the options it supports. So minus v minus verbose, set output to verbose message, help is displays this help screen, version display version information. Other thing you can kind of do is you can change this, for example required to true, for example. That means this option is required, and if you don't specify that, that would be an error. So let's say I've just run without any options, for example. You would see the required option verbose is missing, and we also go into our method where it says errors found, command line missing, request option errors. So yeah, just this was an introduction into this command line parser. Hopefully you will be able to incorporate this in your C# programs. Thank you very much for watching. Thanks.